Alright, this is my audience of 4. Good. Alright, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about LED lighting in K-12 classrooms. Did you know that a subtle change in color temperature of lights can drastically increase a student's score in reading or math or any of those subjects? This is important because as we grow older, we're going to have kids, and we're going to have kids that go into schools, and we want them to perform at their best, and we want them to do their best in school. So it's important that we're putting them in situations and opportunities to be successful. There's a mainstream thought across the nation that we need to be greener and that we need to shift to be more energy efficient, and lighting is one of the big ways that we can do this. Traditionally, fluorescent lighting has been very common in K-12 schools, and even today it's still extremely common. I know this because I work in the industry, and we are constantly speccing fluorescent lights in 2017, 2018, when we should be speccing LED bulbs. LED bulbs are, they can create a better learning environment, they can reduce energy costs, and they allow teachers more adaptability in the classroom. I chose this topic because lighting is something I'm extremely passionate about, and it's something that I'm choosing as a career path down the road. But it is something that we need to take into consideration, not only to be greener, but also to help kids do better in tests. So, my first point is LED bulbs create a better learning environment. Studies by the EIA and by Huffington Post have shown that lighting can improve testing scores, and the color of the lighting can improve testing scores. So, lighting is measured in what we call CCT, which is the correlated color temperature. It is measured in Kelvin, but it measures the light and the type of light that is coming out of a bulb. So in these studies by the EIA, they showed that students that took tests in 6500 Kelvin lighting performed better in math compared to those that took tests in fluorescent lighting. Students that were in the 5000 Kelvin range did better in reading activities, and all activities overall they performed worse in the fluorescent lighting. So that's something important to keep in mind. It definitely can create the better learning environment there. And this image here shows the different color temperatures and what they kind of look like. So in these higher color temperatures, you get better results in focused learning, such as taking math or like CSAP or those kind of tests, standardized tests. In some of these other ranges, you get better in reading and those kind of things. And fluorescent bulbs typically are between 2000 and 3500. So you can see they're kind of more of a yellowish light, which you probably notice if you think about it a little bit more. So now I'm going to talk about how LED bulbs reduce energy costs. So fluorescent bulbs typically are about 32 watts. Some are a little bit higher, some are lower, but there's a Philips bulb that's widely used in our industry that's 32 watts. They produce a much lower level of light, which is measured in lumens. It's the amount of output of light. Typically, it's about half of what a LED equivalent could be. So LED bulbs can get as low as 10 watts. A lot of them are in the 10 to 20 range. But that right there may not seem like a giant difference, but when you add up the amount of bulbs that are in the building and how often they're on throughout the day, it does make up a big difference. So the lamp life of an LED, but a conservative number, is about 25,000. That's something that's pretty standard in the industry, pretty standard known fact. But they can reach up to 40,000 hours if you pay for a little bit more. This drastically reduces on the relamping costs, maintenance costs, and it's pretty much a one-to-one equivalent with the installation cost because LED bulbs are now just as expensive as fluorescent bulbs. So this chart right here is just showing some of the different lifespan, watts used, kilowatt hours, those kind of things. But basis of it is that LED watts used last longer and have longer lamp life. So the last point that I'm going to conclude with is LED bulbs have more adaptability for teachers. What this means is that there's a lot more that you can do. The first thing is what I mentioned previously, is that you can change the color temperature to fit your activity, which is not just tests and those kind of things, but if you have kids coming in from recess that are all hyped up, you can reduce the color temperature to a lower range, in that 2,000 to 3,000 range, and calm the class down. Or if you need them to be really focused and intense, you can make it 6,500. Those kind of things. You also have the dimmable capabilities. So if you're talking in front of the class, you can dim lights, which is not something that's common in fluorescent lighting. And it's easy to learn. It's easy to teach teachers how to use them and how to interact with this system and change the lights. But I'm going to talk about some of the arguments against LED bulbs. There's a common misconception that there's more upfront cost. 10, 15 years ago, LED lights were such a new technology that they were very expensive, but now they're so mainstream and widespread that they're pretty much the same cost, and you do save long term on the energy savings and the maintenance costs, the related costs, and all those things. It is hard to train teachers to use, and that's one big disadvantage. Not because it's a hard system, but because there's no education in place to give to the teachers. Engineers, lighting companies, those kind of people are not helping teachers learn how to use this system, and so often it goes unused, and these benefits aren't sought out. So that's something that definitely would need to be improved on, and something that definitely needs to be addressed, but it's a very easy thing that engineers or lighting companies, those people need to address. So, in conclusion, LED lights are a great way to replace traditional fluorescent lights, and it's a great way to increase student scores, which is something important for our future. They create a better learning environment, they save energy, and they also allow the teachers more adaptability in their classroom. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you. And here's my crowd of four. So.